What's up, WellRED Nation? It is me, Diamond Drew Morgan. Not really. He retired. So did regular Drew Morgan. But I do want to talk to you about a legal case because regular Drew Morgan actually just unretired. I unretired my law license to work on a very special to me legal case. A friend of Annie's, a woman she grew up with, lost their family home, and it is one of the weirdest, saddest, most evil combinations of government overreach and corporate evil that I've ever seen. I'm working on it right now. Long story short, this woman's grandmother and mother died basically back to back, unfortunately, and the county sold her family home, saying that they hadn't paid the taxes. This was a lie. She went to court, this was a few years ago, proved that it was a lie, but when that was all over with, the mortgage company said, oh, that's cool, since you made us go to court, you owe us all the money right now, not monthly payments. This is about the time I got involved. I've gotten the number down since the initial conversation that I had with them, and I am fighting them, and I do plan to win, but I need your help. At some point, a bill of some sort is going to come due in the next 30 days. We're going to have to pay it to get the mortgage sort of turned back on, and I'm hoping you guys can help me. We're taking on the bank and the government. Everybody I know in America hates at least one of those. So if you can help me out, I know that everyone's hurting right now. If you can help this family out, I would appreciate it. $1, $5, $100, $1,000, like whatever you got, that'd be great. I've shared the GoFundMe on my Twitter. I asked Corey and Trae to reshare it. If you're not on Twitter, you can hit me up wherever you follow me and say, hey, where's that GoFundMe? And then I'll send it to you. And then you'll send them money, and we're going to beat the bank. We're going to beat the county. I mean, again, what's more American than beating the bank and the county? Nothing. So please help us out. Thank you so much. You got rights!
They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
Hey, what's going on? It's the WellRED podcast. It's your boy, Corey Ryan Forster. I'm joined, as always, Trae Crowder, Drew Morgan. Trae, we were just talking before we started about COVID and stuff. Does Katie have the brain fog? Is that a thing?
Katie perpetually brain fog.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, which I think she would admit herself. She's a very, like, scatterbrained person. I mean, she got ADHD and on meds for it and has been for as long as I've known her, basically. So that's hard to say. Like, she's the type that's like, you know, where's my phone and it's in her hand type shit.
Yeah.
Like, she's very much what do they call them, a hot mess mom?
Yes.
She's a hot mess mom archetype to the core.
Well, that's kind of been
it. But Katie has a lot of lingering COVID things going on, though, that's really annoying her. She's got still like real bad congestion and stuff like that. And also she totally smell blind, completely smell blind, which don't hit for me because like she can't appreciate my farts and all that. You know,
yeah, right. That don't hit
anymore.
Well,
no,
see,
but she can't smell nothing at all.
Luckily, I didn't get any of those. And those were the symptoms that I was like the most worried about. But like all the lingering COVID stuff, like that's pretty much just how I am. Like, that's how I function. Like, I hack up coughing all the time because of my allergies and like brain fog. It's like, I'm probably the most ADD motherfucker that, yeah, like I should be on pills for it. I just didn't like the pills for it. So I just live with it. But
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I'm pretty scattered, and I don't know if you guys remember, but leading up to the special, I got COVID in October. We recorded in December. I was having to like take note cards on stage with me. And I've never looked at notes on stage, ever. It was weird, and it was only specific things. I didn't feel scatterbrained. It just was like my memory didn't hit, and it was confusing. There were moments on stage where I was like, not like, what's the next line of the joke, but literally, what did I just say?
Right. Like, what am I even doing up here? Yeah.
What minute am I in?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm sort of worried about that going forward, but I am back healthy.
Well, I'm back now, as far as that goes, if it makes you feel better. Long COVID was about 3 or 4 months for me.
Really? Fuck. Well, I am back now feeling good, and since we're up top plugging stuff, hey, if you haven't already, go listen to last night's Weekly Skews because I co-hosted with your boy Trae Crowder. We've also got the Puttin On Airs podcast. I'm at CoreyWritesForYou WellRED.com. Boys, tell them about all your stuff, where they can find you.
Well, you already covered SKUs. You can support me on Patreon if you want to. There's a SKUs tier on there. Also, there's a tier that covers everything, and I do a bunch of different shit on there, so you can do that if you want to. And I don't know, brief. Nah, I ain't even going to call it. It's not a hiatus. I'm touring right now, doing solo shows. You go to TreCrowder.com and get your tickets, and we're going to be adding both solo shows and WellRED shows coming up soon. So just keep an eye on the websites and come and see us. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a new podcast. We have officially retired into the Biscuit, but DJ and I will move forward with our new co-host, Carmen Morales.
Hey.
So that's exciting. And I think people who listen to both, this will be the first time you heard it. We sort of, in Into the Biscuit style, killed the podcast last week and told everybody nothing.
Like had a Viking.
Take it out back and shoot it.
I thought you were going to say you gave it like a Viking funeral or something.
No, we just said what goes on top of the biscuit. Come back next week to find out. It's Gravy Baby. The new podcast is called Gravy Baby. And me and Carmen Morales are going to be doing it locally, together in theory, hopefully, with piping DJ in over the World Wide Webs. I'm pumped about that. You can go to DrewMorganComedy.com for dates. DJ and I are going to be in Bristol, Tennessee at the end of September, but I'm doing a festival, but I think it's sold out in August, and then that's kind of it for me for August. So it's not till September that I'll be back out there.
What's the new podcast about?
All things gravy, baby. And by that, I mean, what we decided is that there's a lot of podcasts out there, SKUs for one of them, where you can get your meat and potatoes. Mm-hmm. Don't come to us for sustenance. It's all gravy, baby. We have decided, DJ and I, that we are tired of talking about the end of the world. We're tired of talking about how Ukraine is going to end up in World War III. We're tired of talking about how the Democrats have the better ideas and even their ideas aren't great, plus they don't execute them. We're tired of talking about anything sad. It's all gravy, baby. If we're going to melt on a burning planet while the two parties pretend to care about us and don't, we might as well party at the end of the world. That's what it's all about.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Drew Morgan has given up the good fight, and we welcome you to our side because me and Trey also have. That is what Puttin On Airs is all about. It's all about fun and not about the end of the world.
It's funny you're talking about not wanting to talk about bad stuff. I still do all my political shit, obviously. And yesterday, the Democrats passed they did an actual thing, which is really weird for them. Yeah, and it was like, it's the biggest environmental package the U.S. has ever, that's a very low bar, and it's not saying much. But still, like, climate scientists and climate people are very happy about it and all that, which is pretty much all I need to see. And there's some other good stuff inside it, too, although, of course, I agree that it ain't good enough. Anyway, it's generally good news is my point. Yep. And it happened on a Sunday, and I was like, yesterday was Sunday, so I was like, all right, I'm not going to do a video on a Sunday, but, like, dude, they're still going to be talking about and arguing about this shit and everything tomorrow, Monday. Sure. Like, when I get up tomorrow, there's going to be the Republicans are going to be fired up, bitching about it. Some shit's going to be going down. I'll make a video then, cover it then. I got up this morning and looked, and it's all just about Trump's it's like Trump's toupee is trending, and like some new article, not a word about this like marginally good news from the weekend. And it's all just shit about how it's all just, there's a New Yorker article where Trump is quoted as like being upset that his generals were not more like Hitler's generals, and how like literally it's like, won't y'all be more like, they loved Hitler. They never would have said this shit to Hitler. And that's funny, but it's all that. And also, of course, the nation's in mourning because fucking Pete and Kim broke up or whatever. Mm-hmm. Kanye tweeted Skeet Davidson is dead or something, which that's hilarious. I did think that was very funny. But like, it just,
positive stuff
people
does
just
not
positive
stay in
stuff
the news
don't
cycle.
play. It ain't got no legs, right? At all. Nobody wants to fucking.
If it didn't actually have legs, it would play better because that would suck. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
it'd be sad. Yeah, right.
Well, that's
so.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly
good luck on the
what
podcast,
DJ
Drew.
said. Yeah. That's exactly what DJ said. He was like, all this social media is negativity. I don't want to add to it anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, I respect
I'm
it
with you,
sure.
man. Like, there's a huge difference in, like, deciding I'm not going to stay informed anymore, and I'm not going to just lather myself with negativity all the time, which like I
Yeah.
feel like I can get, like, every now and then I'll do this thing where on Twitter I'll go block, and I'll mute a bunch of words just for like 15 or 20 days so that my feed doesn't, like, I'll just, you know, mute Trump, mute Republican, mute Democrat, just so I can have a cleanse for like 15 days. And I'll always forget like 7 days into it and just be like, man, things seem to be all right. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, okay, dude, there is a difference in like not making yourself miserable every day and completely not being informed. And you got to find the right balance between the two. But it's pretty difficult on a website that is literally geared to getting you to refresh and keep going and keep going and keep going, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I will say too, in response to that, your boy's still going to be being me apart from the podcast. But DJ and I, we talked about that too. For those of you who remember when Carmen co-hosted WellRED for me when the boys were in Europe, you're going to enjoy it. She's fun. As you know, she keeps you on jokes. That's just like her style. DJ and I tried to go away from doomsday type stuff. We did a whole like 6 months on QAnon. Like we had people on there talking about QAnon, how it came to be. It was fun, but it like got real dark and hard. And after that, we were like, let's focus on storytelling. And we tried. We did a good job of focusing on how stories are created, how stories and culture affect things, but it still kept coming back to doomsday shit. And then we were like, we need somebody else. Somebody else has to be driving this fucking boat because we both want to drive it into a mountain right now. And
and Carmen's pretty perfect for that.
Exactly. So, and then also me and her just had so much fun doing the WellRED thing while y'all were gone. So it was like, let's keep this going. So anyway, yeah, I think what you said is totally true, Corey. My move has just been get off Twitter for the most part.
Right.
I still use it to promote, but I don't scroll on there anymore. I've done a good job, unfortunately. And I don't know if it's the algorithm picking up on me and my new attempt to be happy, or if it's just the boomers or whoever, Gen Xers, figuring it out. Instagram has become very political all of a sudden. And it's all of a sudden for me. Perhaps it's always been that way, but I've never used it for politics. And I've been posting more political jokes. I had a mask video go viral on there. So perhaps the algorithm is like, oh, you like politics.
Right.
Here, bitch. I don't know which one it is, but that's the app I've been on. And lately I've been like, they've been fighting in my comments. I've never had that. Now I've got people fighting in my comments on Instagram. So, you know, everything sucks.
Well, I saw the dude that runs Instagram or whatever talking the other day about how Instagram has shifted to being more of a video platform, and a lot of people are upset about it because they're like, look, you know, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be able to be political or whatever, but like this app used to be where I saw pictures of people's grandbabies and their kids. It was pictures, and now it's mostly videos. And like, I didn't come here for videos. Like, this started for pictures, and they were like, look, you know, obviously there's still going to be pictures, but we are moving more towards video. And I guess just like what we were saying, like negativity gets more play than positivity. Well, there's nothing more negative than politics. So political videos probably have a, you know, pretty good chance over there.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, not for me. Not on Instagram. It's funny. It's like, it was the opposite thing for me. I didn't even... that was the picture platform. That's how I understood it.
Right.
That's what that's for, is for pictures. I don't fuck with pictures. I don't take pictures. I don't think in pictures. I don't give a fuck about pictures. I don't ever want to see a picture of fucking nothing ever. Fuck pictures. Don't give a shit. And so,
especially ones of dogs and stuff.
Especially ones of dogs. Anybody's dog, anybody's baby, anybody's lunch. I don't give a fuck about
somebody else's kid.
Yeah, anyway.
And you ain't allowed to put dead dogs on there. It's bullshit.
So I felt very comfortable not being on Instagram. And, you know, when I first went viral and stuff, and our agents, everybody was like, you've got to be on Instagram. And I was like, why? I'm not going to take pictures. I don't fucking like pictures, you know. And then they're like, yeah, well, it's not just pictures. And so, like, I'm on there. That's why I'm the official Trae Crowder on there, is because it took me so long to get on there. Somebody scooped my regular name. But all I do is just post the same shit I post everywhere onto Instagram. So it's political shit. And I tell you what, Corey, it ain't exactly set the woods on fire over there in the Instagram world. But on the note of what we're talking about, anytime, on the rare occasions that I've like tried to talk about something positive in a video, like this one would have been if that had happened on a Monday and I'd actually done a video about it or something, anytime the videos are at all positive or hopeful, they don't never play like the ones where I'm fucking madder than hell about everything being terrible. You know, those always do so much better. And people who fuck with me will say things like, I had so much bad news, I would like some good news every once in a while, but yet, and I'm not, the people that say that may not be the same people that don't watch the happy videos, but what I'm saying is like, that ain't what the numbers bear out. You know what I mean? Like, people, they don't, you know.
So the podcast is doomed. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. No. Well, podcast is different than like clips, like putting up, you know, clips to fucking whatever.
I think people would rather listen to an hour straight of positivity than listen to an hour straight of negative horse shit, I think.
And I'm sure we'll get negative from time to time, but what Carmen provides is just constant one-liners and just like comic
She's so
relief.
funny.
And then that makes me want to get into the one-liner mode. Like, I'm so much funnier sitting beside Carmen than when it's just me and DJ. So I don't, you know, I think the people who already listen to us, it'll be fine. Now, whether or not we can use clips to gain any new followers being positive and funny, we'll see.
Yeah. I
also like, but I'm in an echo chamber, and like Corey is too.
For
like,
sure.
Meaning, there may be plenty of people out there who desperately want nothing but that type of thing, but they're not. Because of that, they ain't fucking with me to begin with. And the people that are fucking with me, you know, want me to be mad about everything all the time, which is fine. It's the bed I've made for myself.
Well, if you think my smaller platform, old dog ass, has some sort of line on getting those people to follow.
Well, no, I know. I mean, me and Corey, it's like Corey said, well, me and Corey are trying to do the same. We're, you know, aiming for the same people. These mythical, hypothetical people who are just happy about shit all the time and not depressing and fucking whatever else. But anyway, with Puttin On Airs, because it's not at all political either, and it's supposed to be like just silly and just a good time. And we also don't know how to do that, so I guess we can all just not. I guess we can all just not know how to do that together. And hope that something breaks free.
I think a lot of the people listening right now, I mean, we've gone away from politics a lot on WellRED, not entirely, and we don't get too doomy and gloomy. We do, but we cut jokes about it. I mean, again, Carmen is more cynical than me. It's just going to be more a fun approach to it. So I think people listening right now get what you mean. I think it's more going viral with videos, which I think was your point about, well, a podcast is different. And also we got a huge positive response to Bubba, which we are going to bring back for season 2. I got some cool ideas for it. But anyway, we got a huge response to Bubba Shot the podcast. Okay. So like, I think that, you know,
Drew's dropping all sorts of news on us
he
today.
Is. How about this?
Well, we talked about this privately when you might not have seen the email, Chuck. You don't be reading emails.
That's true.
But we did talk about that privately in an email with Catherine.
Well, let's either continue that or talk about something else right after this. And we're back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed
That's what that noise
ad or that nothing at all, depending on where you're watching this at. Just that fancy little sound show skewed up on the board there.
I wasn't ready. I'm an idiot.
If y'all walked into a doctor's office and they had a big-ass painting on the wall of a doctor, let's say this is like an oral surgeon's office.
You mean like a glamour photo?
No, it's a painting. But it's a painting of a doctor in theater, you know, which is what they call it, like in surgery.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a doctor in surgery over somebody's face, like that, you know, digging in their mouth, doing what they do. And beside the doctor, with his hand on his shoulder,
Jesus,
is glowing white Jesus. Yes.
No, wouldn't hit for me.
Right. Yeah. Right. Would you like leave? How would you react? Especially like in the South, I feel like because I saw there was somebody had that happen to them, and it actually was an ophthalmologist, I think. So it'd be more like my doctor who did surgery on my eyes having one of those, and damn sure wouldn't hit for me. But somebody posted one of those on Reddit and it went to the front page. I thought I'd ask y'all about it. I feel like Southern doctors, you could run into that sort of thing. You know,
yeah, I've seen it. Those pictures like posted around on the internet. I've never seen it at the doctor's office. Now it wouldn't surprise me if I saw it where I'm from. But let me tell you what I want in a doctor. Okay, I want a doctor who is willing to take both the credit and the blame for what he's doing. I want him to be like, no, this ain't fucking Jesus. This is me. I'm fucking God. I'm the healer. I'm the one. That's exactly what I want. Because I'm not convinced that a doctor that's like, well, realistically, Jesus is the surgeon here, won't just like let some fundamental shit about doctoring be set to
I'm
the
not
side.
trying to let Jesus take the wheel when the wheel is my tumor. You know what I mean? Also, and that's also what else pointed out. Like Jesus, the one, like it's like Jesus standing there going, like, "You really gonna cut that cancer out? I put that in him for a reason."
Yeah.
You know,
hit for me, cancer.
Like, yeah, right. Like I put that there. What the fuck? What you want to talk to me about this? Where you just decided to cut that cancer out? You know, it's like God and Jesus is the one killing everybody with stuff. So
and I'm fine
why
with
would they help doctors, undo that?
I'm okay with a doctor being a man of faith. Like, I'm not going to sit there and say, like, oh, I only want an atheist doc. I mean, I would prefer it. But I'm saying, like, I don't think that being a Christian would make you any less of a good doctor. But I do think that you need to, like, it's sort of a separation of church and state thing for me when it's like, look, in here, it's medical, it's science, and whatever.
I thought most doctors were egomaniacs. Like that was part of surgeons, especially. I thought surgeons had a huge overlap with being megalomaniacal, and I feel like so it's got to be rare for them to just give it up to the Lord because
because then he gets the credit.
Right.
Well, I want my surgeons to be the way Corey described. I think, which is basically like sociopaths who just aren't interested in hurting people, who are just more interested in like being worshipped or whatever. And, that's what I want out of a surgeon. Out of a doctor, I do think you want a lot more empathy than that type of person's able to give you. I've seen that picture in doctors' offices. I always kind of probably chalked it up to the nurses. You see the nurses more, blah, blah, blah. You're at like a community, not like super poor people clinic, but I went to like the medium poor people clinic growing up and I saw stuff like that. I saw a lot of crosses on the wall. I guess my thing with it is, if it's a hard thing to figure out or it's new, like COVID, you don't want someone being like, well, I'm not sure. Let's all pray together. It's like, I want you to like work a little harder. Get on the internet there. Do you know what that is, Dr. Jim? And see what new stuff has come out about these symptoms or whatever. So, I guess growing up where I grew up, it's like, well, how do you avoid it to some extent? And then when that, culture changed a little bit and all the grants to work for poor people came in where they pay all your medical debt off if you did that. Every doctor we had was Indian. And, as far as I know, they worshipped a cow, which didn't hit for me. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they were atheists, and that's why they came to America to be doctors, just to, save people and get pussy. But I just feel like it's a problem when things get tough. Surely anyone can separate their faith from their job, but what do you do when you don't know what to do? I want a doctor who relies too heavily on himself or science in that moment.
I know that it wouldn't hit for me, which I know is not shocking given everything about me, but like a much lesser version of that. One time I don't remember where we were. I feel like it was Indianapolis or somewhere, but I had gotten a cab from the airport to our hotel downtown, and on the way, a fucking it was like a log truck. You remember Final Destination when when
it comes through the back, every time
you're behind one of those, it was like a fucking Micro Machines version of that. It was like a regular flatbed truck that just had some like posts on it, right? But they're still probably, they're fucking, they're 3-4 inches around and 10 feet long, 8 feet long or whatever. And they're on the back of this flatbed truck, and the truck's right in front of us. And this ain't an official operation. You know what I mean? It's just some old boy.
Somebody going to the dump. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it all just fucking comes off the truck, right? Ooh. Like onto the highway in front of us. And my driver was an African immigrant of some kind. I'm frankly too Africa dumb to know. Like, I think he might have been Nigerian, something like that.
I too am Africa dumb.
Sorry, don't mean to be insensitive. I'm just Africa dumb, as most whites are. But he was some kind of African immigrant, and he fucking, he swerved. We're both clearly freaking out, but he swerved. He gets around it. He navigates the situation. Nothing bad happens. Then he like pulls over briefly. And we're both sitting there like breathing hard or whatever. And I was like, dude, fuck. good job, man. Holy shit. Like, thank you for that or whatever. And he was like, no, I can't take any credit. That was the Lord. That's who that was. Like, he gave it off to the God. And I was like, and immediately I was like, oh, well, never fucking mind. Man.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I wish we'd have died.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that wasn't the fucking Lord.
Yeah.
Why
did the Lord do that?
Well, the Lord tried to kill us with them logs in the first place.
So you beat God.
If anything, you have bested the Lord just now. And
you can't give God credit without blaming him, and there's just so much shit to blame him for.
Exactly.
Like, God took this cancer from me. Yeah, well, he gave it to an 8-year-old.
There you go. And that's the perfect thing. Like, I'm fine with you giving God credit for stuff, but you're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he also did the bad things. And in my opinion, actually, no, fuck my opinion. It is true. There have been way more terrible things that have happened than there have been really good things that have happened. So his fucking record is like Cleveland Browns early 2000 shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just reminded me of the joke I had. You remember those T-shirts that said "God hates Cleveland" about the Browns? I used to have a joke that was like, what if he does? Like, what if he had a girlfriend in Cleveland in the 60s and she broke his heart and started fucking Jim Brown? And he was like, well, that's it. Fuck this franchise forever.
It would make sense.
Then Jim Brown presumably started beating the shit out of that lady, and God was like, hey, he's all right.
I forgot about
I'll give him 5 more rushing titles. That's what I'll do.
I forgot he did that. And for 2 seconds,
I
was
didn't
like,
remember
damn,
he did
Trey,
that.
you're just throwing shit at Jim. Oh, yeah, he did do that.
No, he did. He very much did that.
He very much did. I wanted to say real quick, Andy worked for a doctor who was God-like. He had a real complex, and he was a nightmare and a saint.
He had a God complex, or he was God-like, and
he had a God complex.
Yeah,
and he was like really intense and very literal. He was probably on the spectrum, but he was also an asshole. Those two things are separate, but as a combination, it was tough to deal with. And there were patients who, like, no one else could fix them. And he was so into fixing stuff and figuring out the problem that he got them fixed. But then there were other patients, if he just decided he didn't like them, apparently he would do wild shit. Like, he would say stuff to Andy like, yeah, I'm giving him a little bit too much of this medicine because they're because they're like loud and this will calm them down. Like,
right.
So like,
that's fine.
That's a dangerous, he was fucking people's lives up. But he was also like saving other people. And then like people
I meant like if you were just giving them a little bit more of a sedative so they'll go to sleep, it's like, well, I kind of want to be sedated at the I thought you meant like he was sewing their bones on wrong.
No, I mean prescribing them. Well, I meant prescribing them things. But
this ain't my left hand. What the fuck?
He would also do things like if the mom of a kid, because he had a lot of children patients, annoyed him, he would just tell Andy to tell him he don't take their insurance anymore, which was a lie. And and he was the only doctor who could figure it out. So like he was truly a godlike complex person where it was like, yeah, I got to fix this. But if I decide that you're not worthy of me, you're out. Andy broke all kinds of laws. Andy broke all kinds of laws I'm not allowed to talk about, like giving people free prescriptions and shit. So
that's like that's like genuinely one of the most accurate God complexes I've ever heard. Like, not only
he was
am I the healer, but
winning. He won awards and shit for being like a good doctor.
I'd still rather have him than Mr. Jesus take the wheel, motherfucker. I'd just do my best to, I guess, hit for this guy so he didn't try to like spike my insulin or whatever the fuck he was doing.
Yeah. Lord don't hit.
No, Lord don't hit.
I think the lesson is God don't hit, whether it's God or someone who thinks they're God.
I had a thing I've been wanting to talk about. I was going to bring up last week. It's outdated now, and also
that's okay.
It's like cancel culture ancillary or tangential, but I don't have a huge interest in those things, but I still want to talk about this one because we were threading about it. So let me talk. The reason I'm bringing it up today is because something reminded me of it last night. So people might know, Beyonce put a new album out, and then immediately got blogged about and Twitter stormed for using the word spaz, saying spazzing on that ass, which is like, not the height of lyrical profundity to begin with. I haven't heard the song, but is it some version of like spazzing on that ass, spazzing on that ass? Like, is that? I don't know
how it goes.
Yeah, right. Anyway, it's not fucking Leonard Cohen or whatever, but it's, but this lady, this blogger, was like, I guess Beyonce somehow missed the fact that I already went through this whole process with Lizzo a couple of months ago, because Lizzo had also used the word spaz in a song. And so I must regrettably inform Queen Bee, the same way that I did Lizzo, that spaz is a slur derived from the word spastic and aimed at people with neurological disorders like cerebral palsy, which I have, right? And Lizzo changed her lyric, and I'm henceforth demanding that Beyonce do the same. And we were like, in the thread, we were like, is this one of those things where just one person's pissed and nobody gives a fuck? But at that point in time, if you Googled Beyonce, because I did, literally every single result that came up was some different version of an article about this whole thing and how it happened and whatnot. And I didn't know or realize at the time, and it came out a little bit later that day, also in the thread, that this blogger lady is Australian, right? And
the plot thickens.
Spaz apparently is legitimately like a slur that is used in Australia in that way. And last night, me and Katie been watching this Australian show that I'm not necessarily going to recommend. It's like,
what is it?
It's good and bad at the same time. It's called Glitch. It's about people that come back from the dead. It's Katie wanted to watch it anyway, but not zombie. They don't eat brains and shit. It's fucking wild. Anyway, whatever. We're watching this Australian show. Me and Katie talked about the whole thing when it happened last night in an episode of the Australian show we watched. This girl came back from the dead who died in the 80s, so she's a little less couth than some of the other ones, right? She from the 80s. There's a dude in a wheelchair who had a brain injury, right? She interacts with him, and she's like, "Now he's a fucking spaz in a wheelchair," And me and Katie were like, "Oh, that's it. That's fucking there. Right. That is." And I was like, "But I don't think that an American would ever say that about a dude. Not because we're better than that, dude. Because that word doesn't exist in that context in this country, and both Lizzo and Beyonce are American. So I don't understand why that wasn't the end of the whole thing. Where it's like." It's a slur here. Okay, well, it's not there where they live. So let's just move on, because context should mean something, and they're American, so clearly they don't mean it the way that you interpret it.
Yeah.
So who gives a fuck, really? Like,
I bet Beyonce does, because she's international. You know what I mean?
Well, so is Lizzo. That's fair. They're global,
and she did
artists,
change it.
So,
but for that lady's perspective, like, first of all, let me say, I hope you're right. I hope we're right. It's not like lizard people where we get learned that, nope, this thing is bad. It's been bad. It's bad all over. I hope
I was going to say, I feel like
here,
if we didn't know a slur, then it can't possibly be one.
Yeah, sure. Right. So, I don't know, though, dude. I remember one time I was having a conversation with Elliot Ray Hall, our buddy who's a comics writer, and he grew up in Chicago. And somehow he was talking about his uncle talking about something, and I genuinely don't remember. He was like, "Yeah, my uncle was on about this, that." And he said something. I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "It's like a slur for like Mexicans or something like that." And he was like, "You guys don't have that?" And I was like, "No, we mostly stick to the classics, I think, down here." Like, but I'm saying he had there was regional slurs that exist that we didn't know about. But like, Spaz is a word that I've heard people in America say, but they say it about like a nerd or like a dorky kid or something. He's like, he's a total spaz. He's a total lame-o. It doesn't have anything to do with. It doesn't have anything to do with like a
brain disorder. No,
brain disorder. The way, or the way
I'm saying, I hope you're right in its origin, because lizard people didn't have nothing to do with Jews when we talked about it. Lee Baines has a song out that he just put out called "Lizard People." And he's being learned the same way we were learned. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, but
I'm just saying,
I want to say, though, go ahead.
Well, the way, if someone said, "How would you use the word spaz?" I would have said, it's like when you see someone walk through a spider web and then freak out and then hit their head on a tree or something. They spazzed out. But I wouldn't. That's not me going, they had a brief moment of cerebral palsy. You know what I mean?
Like, no, like a cerebral palsy person.
No, they just fucking spazzed out.
But you did say fall down earlier. and I was like wondering, I'm like, man, what if we learn? Well, anyway, I'm just saying, I hope that we learn that we are correct, that this has never been a slur in America, because this is an interesting conversation. I mean, I think Mark brought this up in the thread, but like cunt is totally acceptable to say in Australia, and we can't say it here. But if you're an Australian comedian and you want to make it in America, you're probably not going to say cunt. So like, I would totally understand Beyonce's perspective of wanting to be an international superstar, being like, oh shit, I don't want to do that.
Oh, she wasn't wrong for taking it out.
But also on the other side, you know, it not getting mentioned in that article. If I'm writing an article and I don't even mention that this is a my country or my culture specific situation, maybe she didn't know, but it seems a bit disingenuous. Well, like, I cannot believe how perfect it is that we're talking about this. I have something so hilarious to tell you guys and to show you when we're done here.
So off mic, you mean?
No. Like I'm gonna to like the bow on this conversation is something that happened to me this weekend.
Well, but yeah, you're right. But like most Americans, I feel like, you know, to continue that parallel, if you hear an Australian say, "Ah, fucking cunts," you know, like we don't go, "Hey, hold on, buddy," now. Because it's like, we know they say that, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Or like, I was watching this British cooking show. I actually sent y'all the clip. And there was this Scottish lady on there. And all the chefs were talking about, like, what's your favorite comfort food? And she goes, I'm sorry, but again, cultural differences. She goes, well, for me, it's faggots and peas, no doubt about it. You know? And I was like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and they got meatballs over there. There's a meatball dish in Scotland called faggots and peas. And like, that's just what that means.
Yeah, right.
So
cigarettes,
fags. I heard her say that. Yeah, cigarettes.
Two things Papa hates.
To English people, cigarettes are fags, you know. And I knew that one, but I didn't know about the meatballs. But when I first heard her say that, I knew she wasn't talking about gay people, obviously, because of context.
Right. You don't eat
them. I was like, what? And then I Googled it and I found out, oh, it's meatballs over there. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, just going from that moment to, but still, no.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely not. From all the way over here on my side of the Atlantic, I decree that is not okay.
Exactly.
Like, I just ain't with that. You know?
I agree with you, but if I opened a Scottish restaurant in America and I named it that, I would have to accept that people would be like, what the fuck?
No, right. Yes.
Well, this person that we're talking about listened to Beyonce in Australia. You know, like, I'm not, like, it feels like.
But I watched a British show in America. I feel like it's the same thing.
It is,
yeah,
but
right.
It's not Beyonce. Global. Well, I just think that the tone probably definitely should have been. I'm not even trying to like be on the person's side. I'm saying I can understand being like, you shouldn't do that, but I can't understand being like, what the fuck? Well,
where I'm at is like, if I'm Beyonce, she's like, okay, it's probably a good PR move for her to be like, you know what, I'm sorry, I won't do that, whatever. However, had she not, anybody in their right mind would have been like, well, yeah, it's because everything we just said.
All right, here we go. Right. I'm going to change it slightly, but I can't believe how on topic it is, and I couldn't wait to tell you all this already. I met a guy. He's now like a buddy of mine. I've met him before, and I saw him in Tahoe. He works for one of the resorts, and the resort is called Palace. Maybe I shouldn't say. Everyone's going to figure out where it is by all the context clues. They changed the name to Palisades last year because the name was
the Oriental
Squaw Valley.
Squaw Valley.
Squaw Valley. Oh,
Squaw
yeah, you can't do that.
Is a slur that white people made up to
Native
talk
American,
about Lady Indians. And apparently, I didn't know this. He informed me that through the campaign to change it, it was brought out
Native
that
Americans.
White people would specifically call a large Indian woman a squaw. Yeah.
Like fat? They weren't fat, were they? They were fat.
Some of them was fat.
They had fats.
They could be fat.
I thought some of them were just big.
Like, a lot of corn.
Big,
like, anyway,
like
it's
strong,
getting worse.
Strong,
Stop.
big.
Okay,
I didn't know that any of them were ever fat.
Listen to this. This gets so funny. So they decided to change the name, but being a corporation owned by another corporation, that we live in America, it went up the chain. It came back down. We're changing the name. It was too late to get 3,500 employees new winter gear, especially with the supply chain issues we've been dealing with. Mm-hmm. So they have 3,500 employees with jackets, backpacks, hats, gloves, etc., with that patch or some version of Squaw Valley on it. They literally bought stickers.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the most American, like, neoliberal way to attack racism? They slapped a sticker on the slur on outdoor winter gear for people who are in snow. They peeled off in half a day. They had like 3 stickers apiece. They're supposed to last the whole season. So they're just slapping stickers and patches on it. Didn't work at all, of course, by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to know?
Very, very appropriate.
Speaking of
America's
cross culture,
general,
it's about to get more appropriate.
To racism.
It's about to get more appropriate. Here's America's general approach to charity and corporations. They had a bunch of gear that was unused, that was now useless to them, and they wanted to donate it. But you can't donate it in America. So do you want to know where they sent it?
Australia?
The Ukraine.
Canadian Indian reservation?
To the Ukraine. To the war-torn Ukrainians who are without home, who's like had their winter coats blown up, so they needed them. So there are Ukrainians wearing a slur on their jackets right now, fighting a war that they have no idea the context of that slur. And I was saying to my friend, you know how like the loser of the Super Bowl, we send those T-shirts to Central America and Africa, and every once in a while you'll see a picture of like a poor kid in a third world country wearing like a Super Bowl champion shirt of somebody who lost the Super Bowl. Right. That's literally what happened, but with war. The people who lost the war's gear got sent to the Ukraine, and they don't know. So they're doing the same. Like, I can't believe how perfect it is. They don't know anything about it, of course, just like, you know, cunt or whatever.
Not.
It means
they can't
nothing
read the
to
words.
them.
Yeah.
They're just wearing it around out there.
Well, they certainly can't take the jackets back. I'll tell you that much.
Now, I don't know when that resort was founded, but I bet Squaw Valley was an absolute can't miss at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
You
know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
How many squaws they got in that valley? But it brought in a bunch of Western fellers. Where the fuck is that? You said Lake Tahoe? That's
Lake Tahoe, and I got the hat because
is that Northern California or Nevada? It's up
Nevada.
It's
Nevada,
both.
Right?
No, it's both.
It's both. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
And I think this one's in California, this particular resort, but Tahoe is in both.
Take a quick break. Come back right after this.
Can I say before we move on that the reason I have the hat is I wanted to give it to a half Native American friend of mine, and he wants it. He was like, yeah, I want that. So like, that's why I took the memorabilia. I'm not trying to keep it like the Nazi people who like, I just like the memorabilia.
Hey, I have just 2 emails to read if you'd like me to read them real quick, because I think we might get something out of this. Is that cool?
If you think we'll get something out of it, because I mean, we still got some time to fill.
So. Oh, and after that, we can do some of the people who sent in redneck names.
Yes, that one of these is that, and one of them is my favorite email that we've ever gotten. So first one here is from Lacey Hall. She says, the subject line is redneck names. Just wanted to share some redneck names with you. I grew up in small town USA, Smithfield, Virginia, home of the ham, baby. She didn't say that. I put that.
Did you check that? It's that same Smithfield?
I just know for a fact it is because I know a guy that works there in Big Ham.
Okay. Surely there's not 2 Smithfields in one state.
Sure. I went to high school with a guy named James Robert who went by the nickname Jim Bob. That's a classic. Yep. There was also a guy whose real name I don't know because everybody called him Bubba. Of course, there you go. Growing up across the street, my neighbor was nicknamed Poochie. Everyone in town called him that. I was a teenager before that. I found out his name was actually James. My brother's name is Jack Wayne. Pretty solid 2 first names Wayne. There. I call him Bubba, and so does my sister, but everybody else calls him Jack Wayne. Then I've got my great-grandmother named Lily Mae Payton, nicknamed Ducky. Most people called her Grandma Ducky or Aunt Ducky. Yada, yada, yada. I've been listening to the podcast since day one. I also listen to all your other podcasts in the Skuniverse. This said sad to hear about Bubba Shot the podcast, but hey, fret not, it's coming back. Shit. I highlighted another thing here in the middle. Well, fuck it. You got yeah. So there's Ducky, Jack Wayne, yada yada. Yeah, all some solid redneck names. Drew, I'll let you get to yours in a second after I read to you my favorite email that we've ever gotten. This is from Cole Bauman. Hey guys, I happened to stumble across one of Corey's videos on Twitter some months back. I've been listening to Puttin On Airs now since episode 1. The song y'all use at the end is so damn catchy, by the way. Shout out Lydia Lovelace. And just got turned on to the WellRED pod. So, hey, ding, 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 new listener. And I'm loving them both. I know y'all get a ton of emails, and I probably won't get a response as this probably seems like a stupid question. But what does FDDH mean? I heard y'all use it a few times on WellRED pod, and I think it refers to a morbidly obese person, but would love to know for sure. Hope the buttercream dream is kicking COVID's ass right now, and y'all keep doing your thing. I wish you nothing but the best and continued success for y'all. I love so much the sincerity in which someone posed the question, what does FDDH mean? And I just wanted to stop here and tell y'all that I'm so proud of us for getting our lingo out into the world and officially into the zeitgeist. Yes, fat, it stands for fat, dumb, and don't hit, for everyone needing to know. So
yeah,
there you go.
I thought we, I know that person's a new listener, but didn't we like very recently explain FDDH on here?
Yeah.
I
they might not have heard the explanation and then just heard us saying FDDH.
Fat, dumb, and don't hit.
Yes, and I would also...
of America, you go to like an Applebee's, especially in the Midwest or whatever.
Yeah.
You go to Walmart, pretty much anywhere. Especially
somebody yelling at a waiter.
And a lot of FDDHs running around.
And we've gotten some blowback of people saying that we were fat phobic or whatever, but I would like to enter into the record. Me and Trae both consider ourselves FDDH. We identify
and ain't gonna play for them
because we're skinnier now.
Yeah, I mean,
but I used to be fat.
I used to, dude. Look, I was a fat kid, and I mean like a fat kid. Like I was a fat kid. That by every definition of the fucking term, and like real fat, made my childhood super not hit. Being a fat kid ain't it. And then in college, late high school and in college, I slimmed up a little bit, but I've yo-yoed ever since. I've been through at least 6 or 7 different fats in my adult life.
Me too.
And most of y'all have seen them. There's video evidence of many of these fats out there on the internet. You can find, like, I know I've been going through old videos of mine for like a sizzle reel I'm trying to put together, and like the different
I've deleted old videos of mine.
The different sizes of me is just truly something else. So it's like my weight has been a lifelong thing with me, and I may not, but even at those fats, there would be fatter people who would still be like, "You ain't fat, you can't say it." And I was like, "Motherfucker, I'm fat."
Right.
But like now,
just because you're fatter don't mean I'm not fat.
Now in a not fat stage, people definitely don't want to hear that shit from you, and I know that's true. But I don't. It's
them wanting to hear it or not.
Entire life I've spent fucking with this shit. It's like a huge thing for me, and so I'm gonna talk about fats and fatting and being fat and all that because it's part of my experience. I don't know what to tell y'all.
Well, there's a difference.
I think
it's like me talking about white trash for trailer people too.
There's a difference between
there's
a difference between them not wanting to hear it, which I totally get, and me feeling like I'm allowed to talk about it. If you don't want to hear it, that's fine. But I will be god damned if I get called fat phobic when I myself have been fat, will be fat again, and still very much internally identify as an FDDH. That's all I have to say about that.
Really looking forward to your future fats.
Well, hey, he just fell off the fat. He just fell off the fat wagon this week, I believe. This weekend.
Yeah, one day, he did, but it's going to take more than one day. I want to say real quick.
I know it's a good start.
I think it's interesting.
It was great.
We're going to get in the weeds. Y'all are just going to talk about how much it don't hit for you that Corey won't eat. It's all that's about to happen. I want to just say it's interesting that we ain't heard anyone defending the dumbs and don't hits. It's interesting that no one's speaking up for these two underrepresented communities in the woke zeitgeist currently. Why is no one standing up for the dumb and don't hits? And I'll tell you why. None of you out there identify as one of them. But if you are writing fucking 3 idiots about their podcast because 2 of them who used to be fat said fat. You are one of the don't hits. I don't know if you're dumb or not. You are if you're expecting a fucking response, but you're definitely a don't hit.
Well, I think also is that like they don't want us talking about fat people because we're not fat. They believe that we're dumb, so they think it's okay for us to say that. You know what I'm saying?
And then by definition, we don't hit.
We don't hit.
For them.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
I definitely think
nobody likes someone that don't hit.
I think Drew is right. It's like no one hears us talking about the dumbs and don't hits and thinks of themselves. Hey, I'm dumb and don't hit. Like nobody thinks that. But if you're fat, like
you're fat.
It. Even me, I 100% think I'm thinner right now than I've been in many, many, many years, and I still feel pretty fucking fat. So
me too.
If you fat, you fat. But if you dumb and don't hit, that's part of being dumb and not hitting is that you don't know that you dumb and don't hit.
Dunning-Kruger, right?
Yeah.
We're going to hear from 1 or 2 old boys who listen. I know you're out there just going,
I'm dumb.
Be honest with you.
I don't hit. You know I'm dumb.
I'll have you know I'm dumb and I don't hit.
It's fine.
And I love y'all.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm a truck driver. I listen to y'all. I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
I had a Slurpee in my hand when you said it.
Yeah.
All right. The winner for me in my heart for the redneck name, maybe because it's a kid, Sarah Wofford from Arkansas wrote in, and someone that she knows has a student, a child. You want to talk about a future fat, dumb, don't hit, whose name is, I'm just calling it like I see it, Joe.
Yeah.
Unless he's gay, he don't stand a chance. And even then, it's 50-50. His name, on his birth certificate, Christian name is Trucker.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You probably can't say a kid's name on a podcast.
Oh, yeah. You might not be able to.
You're probably right.
Mark that out at 50 minutes.
All right. So bleep out the last name, and you guys trust us. Trucker's last name is not what you would expect, but very
It's
rare.
a natural disaster. We could say that, right? So
his name is Trucker Natural Disaster.
Trucker Natural Disaster. It's literally like
I didn't mean
it's
to
like
do
a
that.
redneck character in an anime or something.
Yeah,
is what that sounds like to me. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's so insane. It's like they just picked 2 words that represent a region in their minds, and then name
like
the
how
character
Donkey
that.
Kong. Like how Donkey Kong was like an Asian translation. They fucked up. They were trying to do Monkey King.
Monkey
something
King.
like
Yeah, right. But yeah, they just roll with it. Donkey Kong does hit though.
It does hit.
Speaking
It's
of
funny
being
too
fat,
how like as a kid I never even questioned that shit. I was just like, yeah, it's Donkey Kong.
That's Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it hits.
Speaking of being fat, my sandwich got here 5 minutes ago, and I can't stand it. I'm just gonna go get it and mute myself and chime in when I need to. I'll be right back eating a sandwich for everybody.
What kind of sandwich?
I got 2. I'm just gonna eat some of one and some of the other, and let Andy have whatever she is.
That's what's up.
Joe, how often
Classic.
you be making sandwiches?
Every day.
Yeah, I figured you was gonna say that.
I mean, every single day. Probably 2 a day.
I knew you were gonna say that. See, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I never. What you make sandwiches on just sliced bread, like white or wheat
the
or
keto
whatever
bread.
you got?
My keto bread. Yeah.
Okay, because sandwiches were always like I'd get like some rolls, like French rolls or something, like sub rolls or something, and make sandwiches while I had those as almost like a treat. But otherwise, I never really fucked with sandwiches as an adult. And
you mean like making them yourself?
Yeah.
Because
I
you're
love
like
ordering a sandwich.
Yeah, I was about to say, but for you, it's like I'm not patient enough to sit here and make this. I'd rather just shovel all the ingredients into my fat fucking face.
No, it's more like I just always in my head felt like, and I'm saying now that I was wrong about this, but those types of sandwiches, the types between 2 sliced pieces of white or wheat bread or whatever you got, was like, in my head, I was like, that's like middle school shit.
Yeah,
like
right.
As an adult, if you're gonna eat a sandwich, you eat like a sub,
Hoagie.
and I don't always have sub shit, so I don't have them very often. But recently, I made some sandwiches with just turkey and or ham and Dijon mustard and shit, no mayonnaise, no cheese, because I'm trying to be less fat. But I did that because it was one of the only things I had in the house at the time that like I could eat.
Yeah, right.
And I also had some lettuce and some tomato, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I put that on there. and again, I had some good Dijon mustard is my shit. But anyway, I put all that together, and I was eating it, and I was like, God damn, this fucking slaps. This motherfucker goes. Like, I've been sleeping on these types of sandwiches.
Yeah,
I've made so many because I have kids,
right?
I've made so many but obviously the one I made was a beefed up, much hittier version than any sandwich they ever get. But yeah, I've just been sleeping on those, and I don't know if it's because you're so childlike or whatever. But in my head, when I was processing all this mentally, I was like, I bet Cho fucking smashes sandwiches.
Dude,
I was like, I bet he eats sandwiches like this all goddamn day.
But the non-child part of it is that, like, I actually make them myself. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm getting Amber to make me sandwiches. But, oh, dude, like, that is actually, like, sandwiches is a huge staple of my health journey, because now that I've discovered keto bread and stuff like that, it's like a thing I can make that's not really that bad for me. I'll tell you about the one of the hitness sandwiches, though, I've made in a very, very long time. And this is, I was on a fat the other night, as I texted y'all. I was eating chips, I was eating cookies, I was eating fucking cupcakes. I was going in. Well, right before I went to bed, I got a craving for a sandwich. And, like, normally you'd think, oh, you're stoned, you're drunk. That means you just went in there and threw some stuff together. No. I went in there, boiled eggs, made a super hitting fucking, like, egg salad, right? Buttered the bread, toasted the bread, smeared the egg salad on it, and then as a condiment, jalapeno raspberry jelly on top of that. Ooh wee, son. It was fucking fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I stay eating sandwiches. Like, let me change your life too. You ever eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with toasted bread?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I don't know, because you'd be saying you don't eat sandwiches.
You toast them in it. Well, again, I got kids, peanut butter and jelly, but like, you can't let them have that shit too much, because then they won't want the regular. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's like, now we know that's a thing, and you can't just let them be knowing that stuff. But like,
you definitely got to deprive kids of a lot of stuff for that reason.
You talking about in a toaster oven, or are you talking about like a grilled cheese style?
Either way, I've done both.
They both hit.
Yeah, I've done both, and they both do hit. But yeah, no, I eat a turkey sandwich every day, because, like I said, with that keto bread, like, it's not even like a cheat. Like, it's good. I put the turkey on there, a little bit of cheese, some light. I'm on light mayonnaise. I know a lot of people are going to take my red cred away from me immediately, but see, that's real right there. That's the real.
That's my backup. I don't know if y'all picked up on this, but I ran out. By the way, if you're only listening, watch this segment. The whole time they're talking about eating sandwiches, I'm eating a sandwich.
Right before I started this diet I'm currently on, I bought a big old thing of Dukes and ain't been able to fuck with it, which is so sad, because you know
it's the best.
Yeah, so it's just sitting in my fridge. But I also bought, again, and I knew that Dijon mustard hit, but Dijon mustard's been my main crutch getting me through it, because it's like, you know, it's healthy, but
carb
also
free,
just hits real hard. So like, I can make do without mayonnaise, which I never ever thought I would say, but I'm doing.
Can't live without
cheese
sauce
too. I'm such a huge cheese guy, and I ain't been fucking.
You ain't been fucking with cheese
somehow. No,
I can't fuck without sauce.
I'm not.
Shout out to all mustards, dude. I cannot live without a sauce. And the fact, the day I found out mustard was good for you, I was like, what?
Oh yeah, yeah, dude.
Like
mustard. I've definitely used a lot more mustard in the past year because of that. Because it's like, oh wait, I can just put a little bit more of this on there and it's fine.
Well, all the witches, like Andy's type of witch, apparently it reduces inflammation too. They be saying.
Really?
Yeah. Like
I would have thought that it. I just figured that it would make it worse just because it hits. Like, mustard's one of the rare things that like hits and is fine. Like usually, if something hits, it's like, yeah, and you can't have it. You know what I mean?
You remember Stan?
Garlic.
There was this farmer
hits for you.
That's true.
There was a farmer in Maryville that we knew who also played music. That's how we met him. His name was Stan. He dated a few girls we used to hang out with. He was a mustard farmer, and he'd talk to you about it all night long. He was super into it. And I think he did garlic too. There's a few of those things where it's like, this ain't real. Like, there's got to be a downside. Those people who live forever on that island in Greece, they eat a lot of garlic.
What island is that?
There's an island in Greece where they have
Garlic Island, yeah.
Something of living. What's the word I'm looking for? Where they live longer?
Standard
the average age of
life
death
expectancy.
Is
like, life expectancy.
Their life expectancy. Thank you. It's like 94. And so people have gone. Yeah, people have gone there to study how they live a lot. and they like garlic. They drink red wine. They eat yogurt that's organic. They swim a lot.
You say it don't hit, Trey, but I have to assume that like a healthy 94 feels like our unhealthy 72.
Yeah. They also have less disease, less Alzheimer's. It's all that. You know what I mean? Because I've always said, kill me young because I know what it's going to be like old, not because
dude, it's going to be it's going to be rough, man. Like, yeah, anybody listening, if I ever start showing signs of going down, just put a pillar over my fucking face.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it.
Me and you have that pack.
Yeah, my head has stayed. A few people. My head has not only stayed the same size, but it obviously looks way bigger now because of proportions. Like, I saw a picture of me the other day, and dude, I swear to God, I had to look for like 30 seconds at this picture, be like, did I get high in Photoshop? Did I make my head bigger? Because it's just sitting up there like a fucking bobblehead, not hitting.
Hits. Well, I say you sing us off, Joe.
All right. Thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and ski.
Corey, do you like fancy shit?
Do you mean like endless shrimp at Red Lobster?
No, a little higher.
Do you mean like buying a dog as opposed to just finding one in a box at a Walmart parking lot?
Even fancier.
Do you mean like them real long ass cigarettes?
Buddy, fancier still.
Do you mean like having an incestuous relationship with your cousin in order to purify the bloodline instead of just on account of she's got big ass titties?
Yeah, like that.
Oh, I do like like that.
Well, if you like like that, you're going to love Puttin On Airs, our new podcast wherein two very not fancy dipshits discuss very fancy real shit.
You can find it wherever you find your podcast. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and leave us 5 stars.